Come to Remora TC to trade like a shark and not get eaten by one. Let's school together to protect and grow our money. I hope you're doing really well. Here's Microsoft's chart, weekly view just as a reference. Let's switch to what I predicted on 19 February. You can see here I put a overhead resistance there and some support here, and that the price action would be within this gap zone here, bouncing around with the ultimate move being downward. You can also see some bearishness that was created here. So let's see how I did. 22 February, that's today. You can see that price did indeed hit support here on this red candle, indecision. The next day, it gapped down, sold back up, and ended right at the support line. Now, a lot of folks who are bearish on the market would have taken this as a short, and of course, the market makers then on the subsequent day, it's today, gapped it up and really took out all their stops. Okay, my prediction remains unchanged. Price is going to bounce around within this zone, ultimately breaking down underneath. I think if you were to play a short, right, if you're going to play it, I'd wait for it to break underneath with some conviction. Make sure their volume candles are pretty high. And you also want to wait. Let it come back up here, retest, right? So it's going to break down, let it come back, retest. It might retest for a couple of days, and then take the short there. I think that's an objective short. Okay, that's my Microsoft thesis. Switching to gold miners, weekly chart here, you can see that the candles are getting pretty red here with the indecision candle here. This is the doji candle, and then nice sell signal here, and the week isn't over yet. So what I was saying is coming true. Let's remind ourselves. Here's 19 February. My thesis was this zone here, this gap area, that price might come up here, go into the gap, fill it, and then come down further for us to take a long either here, which would be really nice, which is this purple trend line, which I've drawn from way back, or I think it might even come all the way down here to this 25 area-ish, 25-ish, okay? And then we can take a long. So just two ideas. Switching to today, 22 February, you can see that the gap that was here, I redrew it. So because of the subsequent price action. Let me go back again. You can see that the two green candles here, okay, are these here. And price did indeed go up further into that gap that was there before. And as I suspected, it was sold down, and now it filled this gap down here. My thesis remains unchanged. This will be some resistance. And for us, for those who want to play GDX gold miners long, this would be a beautiful entry here. And even better here, because I think what's going to happen is if price comes down here, they're going to have the RSI perhaps a little bit higher, right? You can kind of see it like here. So what you'll have is upward trend there. This would be a beautiful entry. And here as well. I mean, I think from here to here, it's only maybe a 1.5% difference. So I might even take a position here myself for the long. Switching to XOM Mobile, you've got the weekly chart here. This to me looks like a rising wedge. Okay, so a rising wedge is a bearish flag. Okay, so we'll play that as we need to. On 19 February, let's just remind ourselves what my prediction was. Here's this long green candle, and then this one little red candle that got rejected up here. Okay, so my thesis then was a lot of resistance overhead to include this line here, which is 104.71, and the 200-day moving average going downward, and the gap. Okay, here's the gap with some support underneath. Okay, so let's remember this red candle here. All right, so the red candle on 22 February, that red candle is this one right here. You can see indeed price kept going up and got rejected here yesterday and today. To me, this is a rising wedge, which is a bearish pattern. I still think that this is overhead resistance to include the 200-day. So though they might move it up a little bit tomorrow, it'll hit resistance. and then perhaps next week it'll come downward. I'm not sure in the long term which direction ExxonMobil will go. Once it comes down here to the green line, green support area, we'll have to revisit RSI to see what it communicates to us. Before we take a long, I'm not convinced yet that we want to take a long. We'll have to see what it does. Switching to Bitcoin, here's the weekly chart. I'm in an annotation here. You can see the rising wedge as well. Right now, up here on the weekly chart, you can see that it's in resistance. Okay, let's switch to my thesis on 19 February. I said that the price action is going to bounce around with this as being support here, ultimately losing momentum and retesting the support, perhaps even coming down here, coming down to this area for support to get rejected up here again because there's so much bearish divergence. Switching to 22 February, you can see that the price action continued to move sideways. I redrew this a little bit to say that I think tomorrow or Monday price will fail, come down, test the support here, and bounce around to ultimately fail. Okay, and that's all my charts for today. As always, remember that my content is for educational purposes only. It's not investment advice. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And when you subscribe, please do hit the bell icon